drive the 13 Mitigator Ford Fusion. I'd like to thank you for listening to Let's Talk Racing.tv.
Frank Jr., driver of the number 5 Kiker Motorsports Camry. Welcome to Let's Talk Racing TV.
With Rockingham Speedway. Thanks for listening to Let's Talk Racing.
I'm Timothy Peters, driver of the number 17 Toyota NASCAR Camp World Truck Series, and you're listening to Let's Talk Racing.
Hey guys, I'm Daytona 500 winner Trevor Bain, and thank you for watching Let's Talk Racing.
Hi, this is Dylan Smith. I'd like to thank you for listening to Let's Talk Racing.
Hi, I'm Amber Colvin. I'd like to thank you for watching Let's Talk Racing.
I hope you know who that is.
Never heard of Austin Hill.
K&N driver.
Nice.
Jack knows him.
Corey LaJoy. Randy LaJoy.
Did we just have Kimmel on a couple of weeks ago?
Frank Kimmel Sr?
I thought we did.
Not for a while.
We had Gerhardt on not too long ago.
Yeah,
Bobby Gerhardt, yeah. Oh, shoot. I'd like to welcome everybody to Let's Talk Racing. We're sitting here just talking about everything and not even watching the sensor here. Al, you're back.
I'm back.
You're alive.
Barely, yeah.
How was the trip from Coeur d'Alene to, what was it, Tempe, Arizona?
It was Phoenix, basically. Yeah, it was fine. We had a good time. We rode, I guess there were 125 of us, including Kyle Petty and Harry Gant and some other people. And we rode from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, down to Boise over to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, down to Green River, Wyoming, Grand Junction, Colorado, Durango, Colorado, Show Low, Arizona, and ended up in Phoenix last Friday night.
I bet it was a beautiful trip.
It was pretty nice. Yep. It's. I told somebody the other day that people who live on this end of the country have no clue what's out on the other end, and they don't know. They don't know either. But it's spectacular out there.
I've been lucky. I've lived on both sides. I've been skiing up in the Rockies. I've been
pretty nice
up near Coeur d'Alene, up in that area too. I was there for about
pretty
4
nice.
years.
Yeah, we maybe for the first time ever, we never even dropped a motorcycle. I mean, in the parking lot, nobody fell over sitting up. Nobody crashed. Nobody got hurt.
So how many?
Didn't do anything.
So how many In-N-Out burgers did you eat?
Didn't have any.
What?
Didn't get to Phoenix in time. Got to Phoenix too late in the afternoon. And then I left the next morning to fly to Talladega, which is where I was Saturday and Sunday. And then drove home Monday. Went to Washington D.C. yesterday on a wasted journey, and then here I am, kind of awake, almost.
Oh, God.
The green room is out in my car, by the way. I was taking a nap.
I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to be nice.
Well, I sat around all day waiting for the stock corporation appeal panel to talk about Joe Gibbs's deal.
Yeah, why don't we go over that stuff?
Well, the 3-man appeal panel pretty much gave Gibbs, I think other than the money, which is the least of their worries, they pretty much cleared him. They took Matt Kenseth went from 50 points to 12.
12.
The crew chief, Jason Radcliffe, went from 6 races to 1, which I presume will be this weekend at Darlington.
Yeah.
Whenever he wants to do it. Joe Gibbs gets all but 12 of his owner points back. And other than the $200,000 fine, they pretty much they got off scot-free. And I think the reason was, and I think it's probably a good call, Toyota built the motor.
Right.
TRD built the motor in California, shipped it to Gibbs' shop. They're not allowed to even take off the valve covers. They're not allowed to even touch the motor. So anything that came to them from TRD that was wrong was not the team's fault.
Right.
It was TRD's fault. And even though it was wrong, which is why the fine stayed, I'm sure that the $200,000 fine was because the connection rod was just ever so light.
Well, didn't they find a couple other engines that had light rod in it also?
I think that was on Michael Waltrip's team.
The 15.
Oh, yeah.
Clint's.
Yeah, because Clint's car, they had 3 of them.
Yeah.
Ooh.
With the same engine package. Yeah.
So, and I think NASCAR, to their credit, they understood that the team was not responsible for the engine, and they knew they were leased.
Well,
and the difference in the weight of that one connecting rod and the other 7 was so small. Just somebody said on a cycle ride it was the equivalent of like a piece of tissue paper.
Yeah.
Just nothing. But it was wrong. And that's what they
give you whole half of
Joe
horsepower.
And Joe Gibbs, he took responsibility. Said we are responsible for what we put in our cars.
Yeah.
I was curious if Toyota might say, "Hey, it was our screw up."
They did. Toyota did say that.
But are they going to pay the fine?
Well, I'm sure.
Well, we'll never know that.
But he
or
took
at least a $200,000 discount.
That's the reason why he didn't argue about the $200,000. In other words, he took what he got today and ran.
Yeah.
Because he basically he got off.
Yeah.
Now, what happened with Penske on their stuff? Wasn't that today they had that?
No, that was
tomorrow.
last week. That was last week.
No, they go to Middlebrook tomorrow.
I thought they did that today.
No, they go to Middlebrook.
No, Middlebrook upheld everything yesterday. I think that's right.
All right.
I think Middlebrook was yesterday.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, Middlebrook was yesterday.
It was yesterday. You're right.
Yeah.
He's right.
Middlebrook
I got
upheld,
my days mixed up. That's right.
Middlebrook upheld everything yesterday.
So they're out of options for appeals.
Yeah, but it's only their crewmen are back. They're not really losing anybody they're losing them for a while, but not quite as long as they had been.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe Gibbs said today that we'll take this decision and be happy with it. We don't need to appeal. We're not going to go to Middlebrook and ask that the money come back, because basically Middlebrook had the right, or has the right, to
reinstate
overturn what happened today.
Yeah, they can turn around.
And I don't know that Gibbs thought that would happen, but I think Joe's probably happy with what he got. So
I see Newman got in trouble for.
No,
he won't be getting in trouble.
no, he didn't say they let him
he
go.
kept it very generalized. He was being politically correct.
He walked a tight line with that one. He knew what he was doing.
Well, he didn't complain about the performance. He didn't complain about the racing. He complained, and he never did say who they are.
Yeah.
They meant NASCAR.
Well, yeah, you knew who he
Well,
did.
he might have been talking about Ricky Stenhouse. We're talking about drivers who always do something like that. I don't know how he can claim NASCAR called that wreck. I mean,
Well, he was complaining about how you couldn't see, and
he could see fine if he was leading, or he could see fine if he was running third or fourth and wanted to keep going.
Well, what did you think about those races down there this weekend?
I only saw. I didn't get there in time for Saturday. I wrote in Auto Week Sunday night that is the only place where the playing field between the haves and the have-nots is pretty level.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have? I mean, Front Row Motorsports has got no business running up front like that, and yet at Talladega you can do that. I mean, David Reagan, that was not his first career win; it was only his second.
Yeah.
But Talladega has been the home of many first-time winners. Lenny Pond, Richard Brickhouse, of course, doesn't really count. But James Hilton had won at Richmond. But Talladega often is the home of guys that can't do anything anywhere else. Phil Parsons among them, Lenny Pond, Ron Bouchard, Bobby Hillen, people like that, who can't win anywhere else. And you just Talladega is just one of those places
Well,
where you.
What'd you think of that sweet little movie he did just at the end there to go up underneath everybody when he was out on the outside lane and then decided to.
You're talking about Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday. You're talking about Saturday, right?
No, I'm talking about
Sunday.
No.
I'm talking about Sunday.
No, you're talking about Saturdays when
Regan Smith.
Regan Smith came
I was
from
talking about
high side to bottom to
But
win.
you're talking about when David Reagan tried to break the draft off at the end and went all the way across the track. And,
Yeah.
Yeah, but Reagan, I mean, David Reagan did that knowing the guy behind him was going to stay with him. It was his teammate.
Yeah.
He knew that Gilliland
Gill,
wasn't going to
yeah.
try to pass him. So
The David and David show.
that was a good one.
the place always comes up with some kind of a finish, good, bad, or indifferent. I mean, that's like I think you said that's the 7th straight race that's been decided on the last lap down there. Something like that.
They keep saying if you're leading going in on that last lap, don't expect to be at the other.
Yeah, you can be. You know, they restarted eighth, and I'm sorry, David Reagan and David Gilliland restarted 10th and 12th with green white checker finish.
Yep.
And they drafted well enough together, and I think by the time Carl Edwards saw him coming, he knew that he couldn't possibly block either one of them or cause another big one. So he just took what he could get. Pretty good show. And let me tell you what, there was nobody there. The crowd was just awful.
Huh.
Just awful. Now, it didn't look like it on TV.
Because they don't.
The reason
Well,
being, no.
empty section.
Reason being, they paint all the seats different colors.
Yeah.
I drove in there at 8 o'clock in the morning and looked up and I thought, my God. Then I realized they were not people. Every seat or every other seat is painted a different color so that when you glance up there, you think it's full of people. It's not. But as people come in and go out, you notice, well, there's nobody here. And there was nobody down in turn 1. They don't even sell tickets beyond the start-finish line. And coming out of turn 4, there were 16 sections of grandstand that they had covered over. And the backstretch was just awful. So it was bad. And Richmond, I tell you what, I watched Richmond on Saturday night before from, we were in Boise, Idaho. And I watched Richmond. And I couldn't believe it when the helicopter from Fox showed the crowd from above how much silver there was.
Yeah.
Just awful crowd. Must have been an awful crowd. You know, but like I said before, sitting right here, if just say you're a race fan or you're kind of a race fan or you halfway care about it, and you decide at 1 o'clock in the afternoon to drive to Richmond, get a ticket, watch a race, and come home, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. At 7 o'clock, just cut the TV on.
That's right.
There you go. So, anyway. Roger's got somebody on the phone, looks like.
Yes, you are. Hang on a second. I'm gonna put you on hold here. Let's see who we got. Austin, right? That's all right, Austin. I'm gonna put you on hold. We'll transfer over the main line. We now have Austin Hill on the line.
Let's talk racing. How you doing, Austin?
Hey, what's going on, man?
All right, how's it going with you today?
Pretty good. Just down here in Douglasville doing some work and hanging out right now.
All right. Now, I got word about you through Kelly. You know Kelly.
Yes, sir.
I got word on you through Kelly. So tell us all about Austin Hill. For the people that don't know anything about it.
Well, I started racing when I was 6 years old in quarter midget down in Cumming, Georgia, and I worked my way up through the rankings. Went to a Bandolera when I was 9 years old, raced it for about 3 years, and then moved to a legend car when I was about 12, and I'm still racing them right now, but when I was 15, I started running late models, crate late models at Gresham Motorsports Park, Lanier, and places like that, and just trying to get up there with the big boys. I finally this year started running some K&N Pro Series E stuff with Corey LaJoy and Randy LaJoy, and we're doing pretty good. We did really good at Richmond this year, finished in 7th, our best finish, and we only ran 2 races this year, so it's pretty good. We're just trying to find some sponsorship, find some money.
So are you running a limited schedule with the K&N cars, or are you trying to run the whole schedule?
Yes, sir. We're only running a limited schedule this year. We're running 8 races, and starting next year, if we come up with some sponsorship, we're going to run the full season if we can.
All right. Now, I read in your bio on your website that one of your biggest wins was a pro late model race that you won at Gresham, the Bo Slocum Memorial. I understand you were friends with Bo.
Yes, sir. I was a lot of friends with Bo. Me and him were best friends when we were racing together, and he taught me everything I knew about racing. He taught me how to drive the legend cars, and when I got to the late models, he taught me how to drive the late models. So losing him was the hardest thing I've ever done. And when they came out with the Gresham, that memorial race for him, I was so determined to win it the first year they had it, and I went out there just telling myself, all right, I'm going to win this thing, and went out there and put on a show for everybody and won it for him. So it was very special and honor for him, and I know he was watching, so that was the best thing that's happened to me. That's the best race I've ever had.
All right, how did you come in contact with Corey LaJoy and that group there to get your K&N?
Well, my fiance actually knows a couple of people that work up there, and she got us in contact with the people that work up there, and we talked to them a little bit, and then Corey's heard about me a little bit through racing, and he ran some legend cars with me, so he knew a little bit about me, and I got Corey's number and started talking to him a little bit, and then my dad got Randy's number, and he started talking to him, and we went and had a meeting with them earlier this year and talked about what they were wanting to do this year and how they were wanting to rent out a ride or either sell a ride to us. So we bought one of their composite body cars and told them that they're going to be the ones working on it and all that, and we became actually really good friends with them. Me and Corey, every time I'm up in North Carolina, we'll go work out together. I'll come to the shop and work on the car with them, but it's really doing good this year, and I'm hoping next year we can run for them too, as long as we can find the sponsorship money that we're needing.
All right, which races are you going to be running this year as far as your schedule on the K&N series?
Well, the next race that we are having is at Iowa, June 7th, and then we take off until I think sometime in August. There's another Iowa race that we're running, and then after that we're going to go to New Hampshire, then Dover, and Rockingham, and we're not sure yet if we're going to run Road Atlanta, but we might run Road Atlanta this year to get me some road course experience, because the only road course racing I've done is in a legend car, and they're so small compared to a full-size race car, so it's going to be way different running on a road course in a legend car than it is with a K&N car.
So is Corey running a car this year too, or is he doing a part-time schedule too?
He's just doing part-time. All he's ran is Richmond right now, and I think that he might run one or two more, or he might not run any at all. It just depends on sponsorship, just like it is with me, mainly.
All right, now you ran the Hamlin race also up at Richmond, right?
Yes, sir.
And you ran that for Jamie Yelton and the Fathead racing team.
Yes, sir. And we had a good car when we went up and tested, and then when we came out for practice during race day, there was just something about the car that was a little off. We don't know if it was motor, what it was, but the car just seemed a little off, and we qualified mid-pack, and then when we started the race, we got into the back of somebody that missed the shift in front of us, and that caused something to cave in on the right front. Well, when it did, I ran 15 or so laps, and the right front hub broke on it, so that ended our night. But Jamie Yelton and them, they did a fantastic job the whole day trying to figure out what was wrong with the car, because David Reagan and David Garbo Jr., they were my teammates, and their cars were blistering fast all day. They were top 5 every time they unloaded, but with my car, it just seemed it was just missing that tenth or two, and we just could never find it that whole day.
Austin, when you go looking for sponsorship, you go to a sponsor, you go to a potential sponsor, you give them your spiel, you give them your background, what you want to do. How much money are we talking about? If a sponsor said, "Okay, I'll back you for the K&N race," say up in Hampton or somewhere, what kind of money can you do a race for and make it work?
Well, if we're talking about a sponsor that's going to cover the whole race.
Yeah, the whole thing. I mean, start to finish, tires, gas, travel, accommodations, meals, the whole deal. Just if you wanted a one-race sponsorship, what would it cost somebody?
Well, like tracks like Iowa and Dover, they're going to be more expensive because they're bigger tracks. So you're going to have to buy more tires. So a track like that, I'm thinking around $25,000 a race, and
Okay.
then for the shorter tracks like Richmond and Bristol, it's around $15,000 is how much we do it for, is what we can do it for. But like these other big teams, they're out here doing it for $50,000 a race, which is just ridiculous. You don't have to spend that much to go out there and run up front.
I assume that you would take a fairly small salary to make another race. In other words, if some company said, "Okay, we can give you X amount of money," you would take a very small percentage of that to make that deal happen, wouldn't you?
Yes. If we're running like a Richmond race or something like that, then I'd say about anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000 would be good. We could cover the rest. And then if we're talking about a $25,000 race at Iowa or wherever, I'd say 18 or 15 to 20 grand would cover it pretty good. I mean, we can pretty much do about 5,000 to 10,000 a race out of our own pocket. But once you get higher than that, it's just too much on me and my dad, because I work for my dad, and we just work together to pay for the race, and it's just paying them big chunks just kills my dad, and he's just trying his best to get sponsors, and that's why we're making websites and videos and anything we can do to help us out.
Well, you know, the important thing is if you happen to be, and it's all a crapshoot, as you well know, but if you happen to be at the right place at the right time and have a good night when the right people are watching, you can that can get you going. And once you start moving up the ladder, then that's when talent takes over. But you've got, I guess y'all know, you got to spend money to get in that position.
Yes, sir. And when we ran Richmond and finished 7th, and we were top 3, top 5 the whole race, it definitely caught a lot of people's eyes, because a lot of people were asking on the internet who I was, and that they're going to be watching out for me and stuff. So finishing in the top 10 and running so well that whole night just really made people look at me And I'm hoping when we go to Iowa, we can have even a better finish, if not first place, and really keep some people's eyes, because that's really the only way you're going to do it, is just start dominating at the racetrack and finish in top 5 every week. It's the only way you're really going to get seen.
Now, how old are you now?
I just turned 19 in April.
Oh, you got plenty of time. You're okay. You're okay.
Yeah.
Well, you do. I mean, I just spent 5 or 6 days with Harry Gant riding motorcycles, and it stuns people. It absolutely boggles people's mind to know that Harry Gant never got his first full-time cup ride till he was 40 years old. Nowadays, when you're 40 years old, you've already raced for 20 years, and you're about to ready to retire. Harry said, hell, I wish I could go back and be as good at 20 as I was when I was 40. He said, hell, I'd win everything. So, 19, you got some good years ahead of you. Don't panic yet.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. If we can just come up with some sponsorship and somebody to help us out, and just pay a little here and there, then it's just going to help my career and help us out on the long run. But we're just trying every day. I mean, I come home from work and I just get on the computer and I'll look around at what people are looking for when we do go to these meetings, and we're going to start going to a lot of sponsorship meetings that my dad knows through his company, because he does a still erection company. So we're going to go talk to a lot of the guys that he does business with and just try to get, just some little money here, little money there, maybe a big chunk here. But anything that we can get is really definitely going to help us out.
Now, being from Georgia, I'm going to make an assumption that may be wrong, and if I am, tell me. I assume you grew up a Bill Elliott fan. Is that right?
No.
Okay.
I've always been a Jeff Gordon fan, actually.
Oh, okay.
My dad loved Jeff Gordon when he was younger, and when I was younger, and ever since I was born, he's always wanted me to watch Jeff Gordon. But I do like Bill Elliott, don't get me wrong, but I'm just a diehard Jeff Gordon fan.
Okay. But I bet you were happy for David Reagan Sunday, right?
Yes, I definitely was, because he actually is the one that got us into that Denny Hamlin race, because we know him through the Legend Series and the Late Model Series racing against him, and we got good friends with him and his dad, and he actually is the one that got us into that Denny Hamlin showdown.
Well, it's good to have a guy at the cup level that you know well enough that can do a favor like that for you. So, just cultivate all the friends you can, because you never know when you're going to need somebody.
Yes, exactly. You never know.
Are you doing anything else other than this to get some seat time? Are you going to be doing any other type of racing or anything?
I'll probably run the Legend car still, just to keep my feet in the car, and have a comfort of the cars and everything. But we'll probably run it. Some Atlanta races and some Charlotte races during the summer. They have that summer shootout up there. I'm sure you know about it.
Mm-hmm.
But we're probably going to run some of them. I love going out there to Charlotte and racing with them guys and just having some fun, really.
Well, that's kind of how I think Joey Logano got started, or got his career moving forward in a Legend or Bandolero at Atlanta Shootout. I think Reed Sorensen was in that group, 2 or 3 others. So apparently that's not a bad way to get started. If you can attract attention, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, definitely. Them cars teach you a lot about car control and handling the car. Because once you get in a K&N car or a late model, they're just so easy to drive. It's really on the teams, and then you go out there and you just got to make the right calls at the right time in the race. In a Legend car, it's shoot for 20 laps, and you just manhandle the car, and there's no saving tires or anything like that. So it's definitely different going from a Legend car to a late model to a K&N.
Okay.
Hanging in there.
Well, tell us about some of your sponsors. I know you say you're looking for sponsors, but you're bound to have at least some group of people who are helping you now. Why don't you give your sponsors some credit?
Yeah, I'd definitely like to thank Don Rich Ford. They're a big help. They came on board for this Richmond race, and then A&D Welding in Division 5. That half of it's my dad's company, and the other half is somebody else's company. So I definitely got to help or shout out to them. And then United Rentals has helped us out a couple of times. So just them, mainly them right now, and we're just shooting for more. Just always talking to people and everything like that. So.
And if people want to get hold of you, if they want to track you down and offer you a sweet deal, how do they find you?
You can find me at 678-447-5920, and you can also contact my dad, Brian Hill, at 770-527-0418.
You got a Facebook page or any of that
Yes, sir. I got
social media foolishness?
Yeah, I got a Facebook and a Twitter. If anybody wants to follow me on Twitter, it's at Hillbro Racing. But
Okay.
that's all I have.
Well, that's enough. You never know who might pop on there with a big deal for you.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, Austin, we appreciate your time tonight, and keep us abreast of what you're doing.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right, no problem. Talk to you later.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, never mind.
Spencer Gallagher.
Let's talk racing. How you doing, Spencer?
I'm doing just fine. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Glad to hear from you tonight.
You got Jack and Al Pearce, Jack Dodson and Al Pearce in the background, and I'm sitting over here actually in the background. Really, they're in the foreground.
You look better back there than you
I know.
are.
I got a face for radio, but
Stay
too
as
bad we're
far-
doing TV, right?
Stay as far back as you can, by the way. No, I'm talking to him, not you. No.
Dissing on our guest, Al. Come on now.
Spencer, we want you to talk. We want Roger to shut up. So, feel free.
So, Spencer, tell us a little bit about Spencer Gallagher, where he started and where he came from.
Well, I came out of Las Vegas, Nevada. I started out in legend cars doing a bit of road racing, then all of a sudden figured out I could do this whole driving thing. And about 2010, me and my couple friends of ours sat down and we talked, and I had some good driver friends that convinced me we might be able to really do this.
So you lived in Vegas. Obviously, you must have known the Bush brothers coming up.
I had
Or were they ahead of you?
we'll call it.
I'm sorry, start again?
I said I had tangential connections to them, we'll call it. Kind of first
okay.
people who knew them.
Okay.
They grew up on opposite sides of town of me.
Oh, okay. Were they on the good side or the bad side?
They were kind of, they were in the fine part of town, but they were just on the other side of town from me. I was in the northwest, they were in the northeast.
Okay. Now, you have moved, I assume, to the southeast, or you still live in Las Vegas?
No, I live out in Mooresville, North Carolina.
Mooresville, okay. Yeah, you can't, it's kind of hard to live in Vegas and race out this way.
No, if you want to turn left, this is where you're going to be.
Yeah, oh yeah. Now, you run a partial ARCA schedule, or do you run the whole deal?
Right now, we're running the full 2013 schedule in the ARCA Racing Series.
Okay. So you were at Talladega over the weekend.
Yes, sir.
And so you were one of the few. Now your race did not get rained on, did it? You guys ran pretty much without weather. Is that correct?
Yep, we were one of the lucky ones.
Yeah, you must have been lucky to get that thing. We've had ARCA drivers on here before on our program, and I've always contended, much to the chagrin of NASCAR fans, that anybody who runs ARCA, a full schedule, is probably a more versatile driver, probably to some degree more talented than anybody else, because you run so many different tracks. You run dirt, you run pavement, you run road course, short tracks, long tracks, everything. Is that one of the appeals of ARCA, that you're not just simply turning left every weekend, that you have different challenges you got to get through?
No, I got to tell you, that's one of my favorite things about the ARCA Racing Series is the sheer variety of tracks we get to go out on and have fun at. I mean, like you said, everything from little, tiny little rinky-dink dirt tracks all the way up to Daytona and Talladega. We have it all, and I think it makes for great racing.
Now, y'all are going to Elko, Minnesota. I think they've added a race. Is that right?
Yes, sir. We're going to be going up to Elko, Minnesota after our race in Toledo. Our race in Toledo is going to be the next one we go to, but Elko will be the week after that.
Okay. That's a fairly famous little short track up in Minnesota. I know Bobby Allison used to race up there a lot.
Yeah, with good reason. It's a fantastic place. I love racing there.
And y'all are going to run a somewhat longer race. I think they've added 50 laps or maybe 75 or.
You know, it's 50 laps. They had a 250 lap race. It's going to be a long one.
Okay.
Forward to it, though. I mean, a lot of the best races really are tests of attrition. Who can stay in the seat and stay competitive over a long period of time?
Yeah. Now, your truck schedule, you also doing a limited Camping World schedule, is that correct?
Yes, sir. We're trying to make 7 starts this year in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series in our Elite and Travel Chevy. We already went to Rockingham in Kansas, and now we're looking into Iowa, Martinsville, Texas, Homestead, and Vegas. So that's not entirely in order. Vegas is before Texas and Homestead, obviously.
Yeah. So you're pretty busy. You're with the two series. You got your hands full.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a busy year for us.
All right.
It is.
Or what is are you driving for your own team, or is this a team that you're driving for somebody else, or is it yours?
No, we're driving for our operation, Gallagher Motorsports. It's something we've built from the ground up from day one. That's always been our policy. We're passionate about keeping things in-house and really being able to control your own destiny, and that's why we chose this route. And so far, I can't say enough for all the guys we've found and brought on. It's been a tremendous experience.
All right, what is your tie with Joey Coulter? I understand you're good friends with Joey Coulter.
Yeah, I actually just got done picking up his old PR guy. We just hired him on. No, Joey's a great guy. I love hanging out with him. He's always a blast.
Okay. Now you got a Jackman over there with you. I understand. I don't know if you know Dave or not. Dave Talman.
Dave Talman.
Yeah, you know him. Dave's a good friend of mine, and I'm sorry you had to get him for a Jackman.
It's all right. We get by.
Well, you know, I've told him a lot of times that, you know, the best thing him to do is to stay out of the way.
Nah, it's okay. I try not to run over him too much.
So tell us a little bit about your sponsors and everything that you got with you on your ARCA car and your truck.
Well, Elite and Travel is basically they're primarily an airline that offers a lot of hotel and car reservation listings. Well, basically, Allegiant positions itself as a complete vacation package for the vacation traveler. They serve destinations like Maui in Hawaii, Las Vegas, Orlando, from a lot of these great little small airports that just be dotted all over the country, and the fares are just rock bottom prices. So it's a wonderful getaway package. You can go to www.allegiant.com anytime, log on, and check out what I'm saying. They have some seriously amazing travel deals going, and they're going to be helping us out all through 2013 and 2014 here in the ARCA Racing Series and the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series.
That's what I need. I need a vacation package. I should call these people. I need to get away and relax a little bit after riding motorcycles for a week.
Hey, send a request through Dave.
Spencer, of all the ARCA tracks that you have raced on, fair to say that you kind of get more excited about Talladega and Daytona, or am I assuming too much?
You know, I'm really happy that you asked that. Talladega and Daytona historically have been places where we struggled in the past, but we actually just got done purchasing a new chassis for Talladega, and it was incredible. It performed incredibly. Unfortunately, we got caught up in the big one there, but we were right up front, and I was telling my crew chief, I mean, we got to go here and run it over people, but it was fairly in the race. We were holding station in line, and unfortunately, we just got caught up when that big one happened. It really sucked for all of us, but I'm growing more and more excited by the day for Daytona next year, because I think it's a really fun style of race.
Now, how old are you now, if I may ask?
23.
Okay, so you're young. You got plenty of time. I ask a lot of people the same question. Have you created a timetable or a deadline or a moment by which you want to be in Nationwide or Cup? Have you said, if I don't make it by 26 or 7 or whatever, I'm going to go to a real job? Or are you in this thing for the long haul?
You know, you bring up an interesting point. Something I've seen a big mistake I've seen a lot of people in this industry make. One of the worst things you can do to your career is try to force it too fast. That's what's happened to a lot of talented young drivers, and they ended up in this day and age with nothing to do and nowhere to go, and they're out of their ride. So one of the things that I've always been adamant about is I want to do this slowly. I want to make sure that at every level of competition, I'm prepared and ready to move up to the next level and be competitive out of the box. Because I don't want to show up to Nationwide and come tomorrow and look like some kind of fool and just to say that I've done it. No, that's not my style. I want to go somewhere and be successful. So absolutely, I'm in this thing for the long haul.
Well, you make far too much sense. You sound like you're far more mature than most 23-year-olds. We just had on our program Austin Hill, and I pointed out to him, and he's only 19, so you're an old guy compared to him. I just pointed out that Harry Gant, a driver of whom many people love and cheered for and still like, Harry Gant did not get his Sprint Cup debut ride until he was 40 years old. He did not get a full-time Cup ride till he was 40. Nowadays, a lot of people have raced 20 years by the time they get to 40, and then they're done. So just because you're 23, it's good that you don't have a timetable, because what if you turn 27 or 8 and all of a sudden things fall into place for you? If your deadline had been age 25, you'd miss it. So that's a good point. You should just keep chasing it till you get there. No matter how old you are when you get there, it'll be there for you.
No, I agree with you entirely. That's my favorite line I always like to throw out is my perfect case example is Mark Martin. Look at him. He's about 8,000 years old, and he's still sticking around Cup and being successful at that.
Yeah. But he also started, and Mark had a pretty tough go of it. He ran ASA, he ran Cup and failed. He went back and forth 2 or 3 times. So I think your game plan is pretty good to not lock yourself in to a specific number of years, because the next year might have been the year. So you got a good approach there.
Yeah, trying to make something that specific like that is just setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
It's about the end goal. It's not about when you get there.
All right, tell us about some of your sponsors, some of the folks who help you. Give them a shout out while we still got you here.
Well, I appreciate that. Now, again, I just got to thank the Allegiant Travel Company and the Make-A-Wish Foundation. They've been coming on board and letting us go around and do some promotion for them. And that's Make-A-Wish Foundation, Allegiant's official charity organization, and they do such a great job with these kids. I can't say how blessed I feel to be able to champion their cause. But I just got to throw the shout out and thank Allegiant Travel so much for everything they're doing for us in this Gallagher Motorsports team. I really appreciate it.
Okay. So we'll see you again. The next ARCA race is...
It'll be at Toledo, two weekends from now, so next Saturday.
Okay.
Good luck to you, and hope everything works out good, and hopefully we'll catch up with you at Martinsville when you come to Martinsville for the truck race.
Will do. Hey, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
And tell Dave that, make him do some work down there, because I know how he is.
All right, I'll crack the whip.
Okay, man. Talk to you later.
All right, see ya.
I hope you guys noticed that we had a driver on from Las Vegas. I didn't even mention any of the outboards.
I was waiting for it, too. Go ahead and snag Frank Kimmel there.
I thought about it.
Let's talk racing.
Hey, this is Frank Kimmel. I'm calling in.
Hey, Frank Kimmel, how you doing?
Good, man.
That's good to hear. And congratulations on that big run this weekend down in Talladega.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. It's all day.
Now, how many Talladega wins is that for you?
Yeah, it was really neat. It's always cool to win, but it's always really cool to
those big tracks like that.
But I mean, how many times have you now won at Talladega?
Just twice at Talladega, and I haven't won any at Daytona, so we need to do that next.
Okay. But you won 77 races altogether.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're in pretty good shape. That's
And 8 championships.
It's a pretty good career right there.
He's got one more milestone. He's got one more milestone, and that's to break the record of wins.
Which is?
He's 2 away from Iggy Katona right now.
Oh, I remember Iggy.
Is that correct, Frank?
That's correct. Yes.
See, I did my homework on him. I know him.
God, when I started covering racing in '69, Iggy was old then. So I guess he retired shortly after that. But anyway, Frank, we were just talking to another ARCA driver, a young guy, and of course you're a veteran. And it's always been my opinion, and I've always written this in magazines and newspapers I work for, that ARCA drivers are most likely more versatile. They're more talented in some areas than Cup drivers who don't run dirt, who don't go from dirt track one weekend to a speedway the next weekend, and then a road course. Has that always been part of the allure or the attraction of ARCA, that you run so many different racetracks?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what makes our schedule so cool. I mean, I think all the hoopla this year about the Eldora race with the trucks, NASCAR should realize, I think, that's been a big deal. That's probably been the biggest shot of the arm that the Truck Series has had in a number of years, and they're also going back road racing too. So, that's the most fun thing about the ARCA Series is, like last week we were, 2.66, and next week we're going to be at a half mile at Toledo. So we get both ends of the spectrum, and it's a lot of fun to get to do those things.
And then you go to Elko after that for Elko, Minnesota. Is that correct? You go there after Toledo.
Don't ever ask me schedule stuff.
Yeah.
You go where they point you.
Yeah, I think they've added a race at Elko. So now you have been doing this as long as anybody at ARCA, and you've been doing it successfully. At some point in your career, there must have been an opportunity to maybe run Cup or maybe not. If that opportunity came, do you remember what it was that kept you where you were? I'm just trying to figure out why a man who's won this many races in ARCA, that nobody's ever called him or really pursued him to run in a Cups car.
Yeah, well, we actually did do like 7 or 8 Cup races in my career. I got to sub. The first one was I subbed for Jimmy Spencer when he was injured at the Brickyard, so I went to Michigan the next week and ran for him with Travis Carter as the owner. But I get that question all the time, and it all comes down to sponsorship and money and how much you have to spend. And we had Advance Auto Parts for many years. They're a great sponsor for our series, and after that we had the National Pork Board, and now with Menards and Ansel Glove Company. But these companies are happy to be at this budget and spending this amount of money, and we just didn't have the amount of money that it took to go to that next level, and things have kind of changed. Back when I first started doing it, you could get there, with maybe just getting picked up and doing a good job for a guy like that, and but nowadays it's changed, and you've got to have somebody bringing some money to get you in the ride, to get you some exposure, and then you got to go out and do a good job, and hopefully one day you get paid to get to do it. So it's changed, but to answer your question, I just didn't really have the right opportunity, and to go and do it on a full-time basis, and so we stayed right here in ARCA, and I've been very, very fortunate to drive a race car and make a living, so I've been very happy.
Now, does your son also run ARCA now?
He has run a couple ARCA races. He's ran a couple of the last 2 Salem ARCA races. He didn't run this one this year, but the last year and then the year before, and he's a track champion there at Salem for, 3 or 4 or 5 times, something like that, and but his important thing right now is to graduate college. He's a senior at UNC Charlotte. Should have his that done by then we can concentrate on racing a little bit more for him. But right now, he's ready to go. He's wanting to do it and all that. But me and his mom are not going to let him go do all that stuff until he gets that degree done.
Was it difficult watching him race for the first time?
Oh, it's much more difficult than it is racing, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And he started in mini cups, little bitty cars, and just moved up from there. And I'm pretty much worthless when he's on the racetrack.
And you raced against him. You were on the same track at the same time for a few races.
Yeah, I mean, we've done some street stock races together locally at home there, and just for the fun of it and stuff. And then the two ARCA races that he ran at Salem, we were competitors, and he feels fast to tell me that he's led the more laps than I have on these races, but then I have to tell him that I got the best finish both races. So
when you're racing with him, against him at the same time, are you aware of where he is and how he's doing, or when you cut on your engine, he cuts on his engine, you're sort of in your own little world and you worry about him after it's over?
Well, I mean, he's my son, so I'll worry about him all the time. But yeah, I mean, there's times during a race that Jared would tell me that Frankie's, he's up to fifth or he's leading or whatever, and kind of keep me abreast of that. But I try to handle his racing at this level a little bit different than a lot of dads, and he was able to drive for Cunningham Motorsports the first year, and then he drove for Howard Dixon the next year. And I told him, you go and race that car as a driver, and you're not my son. Of course he is, always will be my son. But I mean, I didn't want to be looking over their shoulder or anything like that. I wanted him to be able to go and do it on his own name and race, his own way, and not me looking over and trying to critique every move. And I think a lot of dads need to step back sometimes and let their boys go do their job. And he's a good kid, smart man, and has won a lot of races, and so he knows what he's doing. So I just kind of back out of the way and let him do what he's doing.
How do you feel that the ARCA series is doing as compared to the other series, maybe? But how do you feel they're doing? Are they sound? Do you think it's developing more? What do you think?
I think it's pretty solid right now, given the economy where it's at. We're a little bit short on fields right now. I'd say we'll be 2 or 3 cars down for this short track coming up at Toledo. Maybe not, because it's a televised race, so I can see a lot of people coming in for that. But we're still bringing pretty much a full field, and I think in general the competition level is really, really good. There's 15, 20 cars that can win the races when we go, and that's pretty special. Even in Talladega, I think we had the top 20 or 25 was all within a half a second or a full second of the pole speed. So that's really good for a super speedway for us.
Now, I read this week that one of your main competitors is getting out. Is getting out. He's selling all his ARCA stuff, and I think it's Bobby Gerhardt's going to sell everything he's got and get out. And I know you did. You had your own. You did your own family team at one time, and now you're driving for ThorSport. Is that hard to do, just to give up on your own thing and go to drive for somebody else?
Well, there's quite a bit difference between what Bobby and I've done. Bobby, there were some calls made at Talladega that he wasn't happy with, and was very frustrated with the way it played out, and he just pretty much decided that he's not going to put up with that, and he felt like he was wrong, so he decided to do something different. I know that he's had a nationwide car and some other things here recently too, so I'm sure he's going to concentrate his efforts into that. And Bill and I, my brother and I, who own Kimmel Racing together, it just became an apparent deal that Bill was ready for his son Will to race, and I wasn't really ready to quit. So we didn't have 2 seats. We needed to do something different so that Will could keep going, and then I wanted a place to race also, so I got hooked up with ThorSport.
Well, I'll tell you, if Bobby gets frustrated at ARCA decisions, he'll go ballistic with some of the things that NASCAR does. So, I've heard that it might be I hate to say a spur of the moment, knee jerk reaction, but I've heard in my career, I've heard hundreds of drivers say, "That's it. I'm never coming back. You'll never see me again." And then a week or two later, they kind of come to their senses. So, do you think he's gone for good, or is this one of those deals where he might think better of it later on?
Who knows? I mean, I hope that he comes back and at least runs the speedways, because he is our benchmark when it comes to Daytona and Talladega, and hopefully he'll decide to do that. And but I've always been one to tell people that don't ever say never when it comes to anything in the world, but especially racing. And we all get deals sent to us that we feel like we've been wronged, and whether they made the bad call or another competitor did something stupid or whatever. But go home and think about it a little bit before you open your mouth, because usually that's when people do something that's not too smart.
Well, how tough is it to race for ThorSport when they're not in the hub of the Charlotte area? They're all the way up the road. I forget exactly where they are, but they're up there in the hub of racing and everything down here. How hard is that to do?
Well, they're in Sandusky, Ohio, which is pretty far north. But Bill and I've raced forever without being involved in the Charlotte area. We lived in southern Indiana and that kind of thing. So for me and for my team, I don't think it's nearly as big a deal as it could be. I think the truck teams, it may hurt them a little bit more, just for the fact that the technology and the engine company and the pull down rigs and all that stuff that you have access to through Toyota are located in Charlotte. And so matter of fact, the 88 truck I think is down there the last couple of days doing some technology work. So that part of it's a little bit tough, but pretty much ThorSport is self-contained. They have their own fab shop and everything right there in house. So other than major structural framework, they can pretty much do everything they need right here in Sandusky, and they've got a beautiful facility. So if you ever get up this way, or anybody needs to come up and take a tour of the ThorSport racing facility, it's a pretty cool place.
I'll tell you, ThorSport has got a new, I think, it's his first year. They got a terrific PR guy, a man named Dave Rodman, young man not a young man, a man I know very well. And Dave Rodman is the kind of personnel asset that any serious race team can be proud of. So at some point in time, you'll probably run into him.
I deal with, he takes care of my PR and all that stuff.
He's a good guy. He's a really good guy. He knows what he's doing. He's got a lot of contacts everywhere. So y'all are lucky to have Dave Rodman. He'll do a good job for you.
He's a good one for sure.
Yeah. Now, you say you don't really know what the schedule is coming up, but now you got Toledo coming up, and then you got Elko. There's a dirt track in there somewhere. You go dirt track racing. Are y'all running a road course this year?
Yeah, we run 2 road courses. We go to New Jersey and then up to I can't think of the name of it. Up in Wisconsin, big one up there.
Oh, Road America.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elkhart Lake. Okay.
Courses, and we got 2 dirt tracks, and then of course all the short tracks and intermediates, and we're done with Daytona and Talladega this year. So it's a pretty good schedule coming up.
And you go to Pocono, I guess. You're there once or twice, I believe, coming up.
Yeah, we're there both times at Pocono. Yeah. Always look forward to that.
Yeah. It's a good schedule. I've told people, if you can run ARCA and have a good career running that variety of tracks, you're pretty good. Because a lot of people, they're like left turn wonders, but they can't do anything else. A lot of these NASCAR guys have never been on dirt to speak of. I mean, they might have run an exhibition race or two, but you guys get it on everywhere you go. It's a pretty good show.
I appreciate it. I think so too.
Yeah, they got June 8th and August 2nd for both being at Pocono.
Okay. All right. Frank, give us the name of some of your sponsors, some of the people who make your team go, and let's give them some publicity while we got you on here.
Well, I have 2 major sponsors, of course, the Menard
right.
Home Improvement Stores, and Ansel, the largest glove manufacturer in the world, too. So two great companies that come together to help support what we do, our habit that we have, and of course we use Toyotas and David Pepper is my spotter, and he does a great job, and just got a good bunch here right now.
My last question is this: after years and years and years in a Ford, was it tough to go to Toyota?
Yeah, it was really tough. That was a hard decision, and when I moved to ThorSport, the deal initially was probably we thought they were going to stay in Chevrolets, and then really late in the negotiations, and Toyota came into being a big player in the deal. So, Ford was really, really good to me in my career, and I have utmost respect for everybody that's involved in this sport, the Ford organization and the racing side of it. And I miss those guys, but we're making some really good relationships here with Toyota, and of course they put out a great product also. So it's been a really good fit for us so far.
Okay.
Well, Frank, we appreciate your time tonight, and hope everything works out good, and we get another championship and get them 2 wins.
Sounds great, Brady. I appreciate you having fun. Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
calling.
All right, supper time.
Al saw the 1.01 time frame. He says, "Okay, I'm ready."
Good. I'm good.
Well, I hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight. We will see y'all again next week. And I didn't say it that time, Al.
You did not say we want to thank you. You just say thank you for watching.
Check us out. We always have fun.
Yeah, we'll see you at Ruby Tuesdays in 10 minutes.
Oh, gosh. See ya!
Hey guys, I'm Daytona 500 winner Trevor Bain, and thank you for watching Let's Talk Racing.
Hi, I'm Robert Richardson Jr., driver of the number 23 Dodge Challenger for R3 Motorsports in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and you're watching Let's Talk Racing.
I'm Timothy Peter, driver of the number 17 Toyota in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, and you're listening to Let's Talk Racing.
Here's your 2011 champion, David Brehm.
Hi, this is David Flens, driver of the 33 NASCAR Late Model, 2011 Old Dominion Speedway Track Champion. Thank you for watching Let's Talk Racing TV.
I'm Sam Hunt, driver 42 car on the thing Let's Talk Racing.
Hi, my name is Natalie Sather. I drive the 94 K&N Lady Eagle Safety Wear, Butler built seats, bell helmets, hooker harness seat belts, number 94 at South Boston Speedway. Be sure to listen to Let's